Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elevate Edge Training. Welcome to this first session from Elevate Edge Training. We will be talking about communication in this session, in this video. Communication is a very vast, a very big topic. So, what I've done is I've made this into three parts. So, the first part that you are seeing now is part one of our communication skills series, where we will be talking about what do we mean by communication, what is the definition of communication. We will be talking about how do we communicate, what are the different ways and means that we communicate with, the process of communication, an important aspect to understand what communication skills are, and the importance of communication. Why does communication skills get so much of spotlight, get so much of precedence in our personal and professional life? We will be looking at these four aspects in this session here today in this video. So let's get on with what is communication. In its very simple, basic form, communication means how we share information, process of sharing information between two or more people. And that information just need not be numbers, just need not be data, just need not be uh, information. It can take form of your opinion. It's an information that you're sharing about yourself. It could be your feelings. Again, it's information that you're sharing about yourself. It could be your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions, your feelings, anything that gives information to somebody else about you, about something else, does form communication. So in its very simple, very basic layout, communication is nothing but how we share information between two or more people. With that, how we share information, we come to the next part. How do we communicate? What are the ways and means that we use to communicate with other people, other human beings in our personal and professional life? So we use verbal communication, communication where we use words, sentences, and we do this 24 by 7. Even when I'm sharing this video, creating this video for you, this is verbal communication. When you are sending a text message to your friends, to your colleagues, it's a verbal communication. When you are sending an email, it's again a verbal communication. When you are replying in a meeting, when you're asking questions in a meeting, when you're responding in a meeting, when you're answering a phone call, it all forms a part of verbal communication. And the second aspect of how we communicate is the non-verbal aspect, where we communicate using our body language, using our gestures, using facial expressions, even by varying the emotions that we use or that we uh, put in our words. That also is a non-verbal communication. If you want to understand this a little bit more in a little practical manner, without smiling, say good morning. Don't smile, keep a straight face, good morning. And now, if you have said good morning without smiling, I want you to make a big smile, a huge big smile. Yes, like that. And say good morning. So let's do it. First, without smiling, good morning. And then, now, with a very big smile, let's all say good morning. Did you notice how the second good morning sounds when you are smiling and saying it, and how did it sound when you are not smiling? That is how the verbal and non-verbal communication happens. The verbal communication is supported by non-verbal communication, and the non-verbal communication is supported by verbal communication. And both of them are equally important in getting our message across to the people that we are communicating with, to the world that we are communicating with. Because if there is a mismatch between these two modes or these two aspects of communication, then a very, very wrong message, or a message that we did not intend to give out, goes out. The message is interpreted, or rather, I would say misinterpreted. The message that we want to send across gets misinterpreted, and then we have what we call as a communication failure. So there is a very uh, strong chance, if you are one of those people who feels that no matter what I say, no matter what I do, people always misunderstand me, then there is a very good chance that there that the balance between your verbal and non-verbal communication is off. You need to understand how you are communicating verbally. You need to look at your body language, you need to look at your facial expressions, you need to look at the gestures that you are making, you need to even look at the emotions that you may be portraying while you are talking. So one more example comes to mind. So if I rub my hands and say, okay, what do you want to do next? I'll do that for you so that you'll understand how it works. So first, I'll rub them slowly. So what do you want to do next? What does this gesture or this communicate to you? Something very suspicious is about to happen. Something very untrustworthy is about to happen. Now let me do the same thing, but by slightly altering the gesture. So what do you want to do next? Now what did it happen? Did it show excitement? Did it show interest? Did it show that I was willing to move forward and start whatever you wanted to start? Yes, because the first hand rub was slow, was more deliberate. And that slow, deliberate hand rub, the non-verbal gesture, the meaning or how it is interpreted is that of an untrustworthy person, somebody who has a very ulterior motive. But when I do it fast, it shows excitement, it shows interest. So if you are there who's getting misunderstood uh, more often than you would like to acknowledge, or more often than you would like to like, then have a look at your verbal and non-verbal communications, whether they are balancing each other, whether they are complementing each other, or whether they are at uh, opposite ends of, they are opposing each other. So if you are saying, if you want your message to go across the way you intended it to, then make sure your verbal and non-verbal communicational aspects are in sync and are balanced. So with that, we come to the process of communication. Now, this is a uh, very important aspect to understand when it comes to communication. The reason being, this is how we communicate. We are sender. We are a sender of a message. We have a message that we want to send across to the receiver. Now, what happens is we take that message, what we want to give to the sender, we take that message and we encode it. Encode it means we put it in a verbal form, a non-verbal form, a gesture form, a written form, spoken form, in different ways, different uh, codes, and we use a channel to send it out. Channel can be a WhatsApp message, channel can be an email, channel can be a video, like I am using this video to get my message across to you. Then that message is decoded by the receiver. He listens to the message, he reads the message, he, uh, how do I say, he looks at the aspect behind the message, the emotions, the words that are used, how they are used, and he understands the message. He decodes it, and that is how the message gets across to the receiver. But process does not end over here. Normally we say, okay, what I have to say has reached the receiver, the process has ended. No, that is not the end of the communication process. In fact, the receiver then has to send a feedback or has to communicate his understanding. What has the receiver of the message understood from the message that was received from the sender? If the receiver is unable to do so, then the sender should ask the receiver to repeat back the message, to communicate his understanding about the message. Then and only then do we say that the process of communication is complete, the loop of communication is complete. Without this last part being done, the communication is not complete, because this ensures the feedback from the receiver to the sender ensures that what we have said, what I have said, is what you have understood. Then and only then can we say that the communication is complete, communication is 100% complete. Till then, it is an open loop. The communication process has not ended. So, from next time, whenever you are sending a message, try to build in some way that the receiver can communicate his or her understanding back to you. Or if it does not happen, check with the receiver whether they have understood the message the way you intended for it to be done. So that is the process of communication. Why do communication skills get so much of prominence? Man, as they say, is a social animal. We live in society. And once we understand that, once we acknowledge that we are living in a society, we also need to acknowledge and respect that we also need to communicate with other members, other people who are around us in that society, in that community. And if we are not able to communicate with them in a way that they understand exactly what we are saying, then we are failing as a human being. Then we are failing as somebody who is trying to build a better society, trying to build a better organization, trying to build a better team. That uh, form can be of any shape, size, and context. So why do communication skills get so much of importance? Primarily because we use communication skills to express our thoughts, ideas, feelings, opinions, and equally important is that we use them to decode and understand what others are telling us. Many times when I talk about communication skills, people ask, or people say, I want to improve my communication skills, I want to improve how I talk, but that is only 50% of communication skills. There is other 50% which is listening, which is understanding what the others are saying and trying to say. So communication skills are important because not only they help us to express our thoughts, but also to understand and comprehend the messages that others are sending to us. And this is important. Why? Because it builds a connection, it builds a relationship of mutual trust, rapport, and respect, both in our personal and professional lives. If you want to build a connection, if you want to maintain a connection, then we need to have good, better communication skills. They also help us develop the relationship based on understanding and trust. If we are good at communicating, if we are good at expressing, if we are good at decoding others' message, we are able to make a connection, we are able to make a contact based on trust, based on understanding. It also helps in accomplishing the organizational goals and objectives, because as a team leader, as a team member, as a team manager, whoever, whatever your role may be in the hierarchy, if you're not able to communicate the goals and objectives in the way that people can understand with them, relate with them, connect with them, then they're not going to get accomplished. So it is very important for us, whether in our personal sphere or in our professional life, to be able to communicate our goals to others in a way that they can understand, in a way that they can comprehend, so that they start trusting us, they start understanding us, they start believing in us. And that leads to having good teamwork, that leads to better coordination of efforts between the teams, and also minimizes or not minimizes, I would say, that also leads to better conflict resolution, better dispute resolution. Because once the communication becomes open, once the channels of communication become open, when people in the team have that trust, have that bond, have that connect with each other, then obviously conflicts do get resolved in a better manner, in a professional manner, which will help take the team, take the organization, take the person forward towards their goals, towards their objectives. Decision making also depends on communication. Whether I am able to communicate the data, whether I am able to communicate the information in a manner that makes sense, helps in decision making. Or if I'm able to organize the information that I have got, if I'm able to decode the information that I have got, then I can make a decision that is based or founded properly on data, on information, and that is possible only when the communication is effective. It also helps in gathering this data that is required. It can be different people's opinions, it can be different people's feelings, it can be thoughts, their ideas, their opinions. If I'm able to ask the questions in the correct manner, then I'm able to gather this information, this opinion, this thoughts, feelings, and evaluate them, understand them, comprehend them, and then build on that relationship, build on that personal connect, build on that professional connect, and come to an agreement. Coming to an agreement also connects back to the first point that you have on your screen about better teamwork, better coordination, and resolving the disputes. And last but not definitely not the least is that it promotes customer client happiness. And when I say customer or client happiness, I am talking about both the internal and external customers that a company has. And when we talk about brand loyalty, it also means the brand loyalty for the internal customer, the associates, the employees, the vendors, as well as the external customers, the customers who are purchasing our products and services. So if you are able to communicate with them in a better manner, then yes, definitely it is going to help us build that brand loyalty that we are so desperately wanting to build. So with that, we come to the end of part one. So let's wrap it up. We spoke about what is communication. We talked about the process, uh, the definition of communication. We talked about how do we communicate, the verbal and non-verbal aspects, and how they need to be balanced, how they need to complement each other to ensure the communication is right and done in the right manner. Then we talked about the process of communication, how a sender takes his message, encodes it, uses a channel, passes it on to the receiver, how the receiver decodes it, understands it, and communicates the understanding to the sender back again. And we talked about the importance, the points we talked just now a couple of minutes ago about how important, why communication is important, because it helps in building trust, it helps in building uh, a good team, it helps in quicker resolution of disputes, it helps in building brand loyalty and things like that. So with that, we come to the end of part one of our communication skills series, and I would invite you to subscribe and click on the bell notification so you get the notification and update as to whenever we upload the next part of this communication skills series and any other sessions that we would like to upload. I welcome you. Thank you for your time, and I would invite you again to subscribe to the Elevate Edge channel, and looking forward to having you in the next session where we will be talking about barriers to communication. What are the different barriers that we face when we communicate with other people, and how can we overcome them? So I will see you in that session. In the meanwhile, do not forget to follow us on the other social media channels as well. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Instagram, and do share your feedback, your thoughts, your comments with us at elevateedge.training@outlook.com. We would definitely love to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a wonderful day.